Okay, I got to get my thoughts together. Welcome back to the Below the Rim podcast. Welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of Below the Rim podcast. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys. I mean, this is super fun. I mean, everyone is looking dapper. There's a buzz. There's a little bit of a buzz. Am I wrong?
I feel that.
Boys are buzzing.
All right. So let's just dive right in. College basketball. Angel Reese. What the heck was going on, man? This was a crazy game. LSU wins the national championship. Thoughts? What did you think?
I just caught the highlights. I didn't see the game. I caught some of the drama, and that's about it.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, a lot of drama to come from it. I mean, both teams, fantastic championship. A lot of viewers for the sport. I like a lot of the. I like the drama coming out of it because that means more people are focused on women's basketball. So I will say that I think that the classless label that she got hit with is a little far fetched. I mean, in sports, people are going to talk. They're going to talk. Yeah, did she go after her? Yes. But when you have a signature celebration, it's similar to when I think Michael Jordan dunked on Mutombo. He does the finger wag to him.
MJ. Oh, he did it! Finally got his dunk on Mount Mutombo. And he's going to say
When you have that signature celebration, you can't be surprised when it gets thrown back in your face.
Right. I mean, and Caitlin Clark was like, she was, she did it, she was doing it too. And like you said, Ryan, I agree. I think women's basketball, it's like, these youngins coming in now, they're they don't take no bullshit, right? They're going at it. It's actually more entertaining. And the numbers, I think the numbers said something like it was the highest. Let me see here. We have a stat talking about
12 million or so is what I thought.
The front office sports said the NCAA Women's National Championship, 9.9 million viewers are more than any women's CBB game ever, any MLS game ever, any Stanley Cup game since 1973, the 2023 Orange Bowl, the 2023 Sugar Bowl, the 2021 NBA Finals, the 2020 World Series. So, like, this was like shattering records. Crazy.
I like those numbers, man. You know what, though? I will say this is one of the first seasons I can remember with the men's and women's tournament that I might have paid more attention to the women's tournament. My personal favorite teams in the college are Kansas and Syracuse, and Syracuse didn't make the tourney, and Kansas had an earlier exit than normal. So I found myself a little bit wrapped up in the female side of things, and I started having memories of Magic and Bird with this whole Angel Reese and Clark battle that was going on, man. I felt
they weren't holding back. Yeah, they weren't holding back. They weren't holding back. I like that. Hey, Khalil Miller, hold up, Drew, real quick. Khalil Miller, we didn't get to introduce you. I think you're Wi-Fi. Can you just introduce yourself real quick, boss?
Okay, yeah. How you doing? My name is Khalil Miller. I play basketball out east for the Truro Tide out in Truro, Nova Scotia. And this is my first year playing professional.
And real quick, Khalil, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Now you're out in Nova Scotia. You're a professional basketball player. And Drew, we're coming right back to you, but we just wanted to introduce Khalil and yeah, man, and hear his story. First guest of season 2. So yeah, Drew, continue. My bad, boss. Go ahead.
The only thing I was gonna add is I started to feel like I was a bit of a jinx, man, because as soon as I got wrapped up in South Carolina being undefeated, as soon as I actually started to care about that, they went and lost to Iowa in the semifinal game there. So I was a little bit disappointed to not see the undefeated season with Don Staley's South Carolina team, but I feel good for LSU, man. LSU, congratulations, big time.
Mike,
I would agree. I watched, I think, more women's basketball in the tournament this year than I did men's. I found it much more entertaining. I do find it interesting when everyone refers to the drama of the game, because I felt like there wasn't any drama. I mean,
it was just regular basketball.
Yeah, it's just some shit talking. Like, that's what it was.
Maybe that's our fault.
It was just like the whole tournament was like that. It was Clark before, and then her, and then if you go back to the Miami games in Indiana, that chick from Miami, was it Haley Cavender, was playing in Indiana against Indiana and hit some free throws with like 10 seconds left in the game, and then standing at the free throw line, she just shushed the whole crowd.
Wow. Now you guys were texting, now shifting over to the men's side, because that was exciting as well. It was a game winner. Literally, I was checking the group text, and you guys were like, it was you, Franklin, and Ryan. You guys were watching live, so So I turned to it and it boom, saw the game winner. Thoughts, Avery? Did you catch that as well? Did you see the highlights?
Yeah, that
Khalil,
game
did
was
you see that?
crazy. Was it San Diego, that game?
Yeah, San Diego State. Yeah, man. SD. Shout outs to SD.
They showed up good in that game. Well, not really. The game winner gave hope to San Diego, I'm guessing, but they got destroyed in the finals. Like, they didn't look. I thought the entire time they were basically just like too small. The spacing was horrible. They couldn't get a rebound to save their life. If they didn't run them off the floor, they weren't going to win that game. And like, even when they got it to 6 at one point, I was surprised they got it to that close. Like, what was it, a 22-point lead at one point? So like, I don't think anyone really had any faith in San Diego winning that game. What's Kentucky, five finals wins now, or 5 championships now?
True blue
UConn.
blood. They have to be up there. Yeah, they have to be up there with the blue blood.
Yeah, exactly.
They are. I think it's
saw-
Indiana has 5 as well, and Duke.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's a great segue because we have a collegiate player and then a professional player here, as I mentioned before, Khalil Miller. Tell us a little about your thoughts on the games going on, your thoughts on the league, and then go into your story, man, if you can. Like, bless us with how your journeys inspired your work.
Yeah, I feel like San Diego stood no chance against UConn. When it comes to being a professional now, it's just straight like in the gym, basketball. Cause like my family, they would ask me questions like, "Oh, so like what school are you at now?" I'm just like, "No, I'm just now," you know. So it's always been my dream to play professionally, whether in the NBA, regardless. I'm making money doing what I love.
Whoa.
So I'm excited to start my journey, get the ball rolling.
Praise God, man. I mean, I couldn't add anything more than that, so I'll keep it pushing. You have a story that you got to tell a little later on, but we'll wait for that. I'm gonna switch it up on y'all real quick. Okay, so we went college. Unless anyone wants to, add anything. MLB. Are we excited about MLB? Yankees beat the Phillies. I wanna get your thoughts, Jamal. I know you were a big baseball fan back in the day. You talked about Kelly, was it Kelly Gruber? Just before we get into MLB, because we've never really talked about it. Can you give us like a quick little background? And it's a full circle. So I'm like a quick little background of like what it was coming up in Toronto. Shout out to Padres, by the way. Go ahead.
Baseball. Like, surprisingly, I was a baseball fan first before basketball. I thought I knew everything about baseball. I had my dad got me the baseball book for the Blue Jays championship 92 and 93, back-to-back wins. Like, how many franchises have done that before?
Right.
Blue Jays. Anyways,
Right.
and then from baseball, I slowly transitioned over to basketball, but it still took me a minute because baseball, you get paid so much, you don't do anything. There's 9 innings. Like,
Right.
you might get
Drew, are you a baseball fan too? You don't talk about baseball a lot.
You know what, man? Base probably one of my first loves. I can tell you. I mentioned in one of the earlier pods that I was a grounds crew.
Right.
Member
Okay.
In the
right,
90s, when they see the guys running out at the fifth
right. My bad.
doing
Okay,
the cup and all that. So
The world's fastest.
Damn the Wi-Fi.
Baseball was the first sport, and plus it's one of the cheapest sports you can play. I mean, a baseball bat cost about under $10. You don't even need cleats. Barefoot, you're good to go.
And it's America's number one pastime.
Draw the plates.
Yep.
So, I mean, baseball was something that a lot of people could play. Till this day, I still love baseball. I mean, I could still crank one out the park.
Yeah,
and
man.
I think it's one of the most underrated sports because I think everyone just wants to see like the basketball and the NFL and the hockey, but like everyone forgets about the baseball.
What's going on in the MLB world, Mike? Is it I'm going for the Padres. I know they're not going to win, but I know they had a big inning in the summer, the off season. Can't remember the player, but can you give us a little outlook on that for anybody that isn't a fan of baseball and wants to know a little more?
Yeah, for sure. Just to start off, baseball's big problem, I would say, for the last 10, 15 years is the speed of play. It's a slow game. One person hits, pitcher throws the ball, everything takes forever, it seems like. So baseball this year is trying to fix that. And so they've entered some new rules where there's a pitch clock now.
Jamal, you talked about that on one of the pods. Yep.
I wasn't sure how I'd feel about that originally, but watching games now, it's really helping.
You need it. Yeah, I think you need it.
Yeah. I found the wireless pitch calls between the catcher and the pitcher really interesting. So they don't do hand signals as much anymore. When they're calling the pitch, they have just buttons on the glove, and they'll press the button, and it'll relay a vibration back to the pitcher or pitcher.
That's how they used to cheat in poker games.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna keep rapid fire. All right, Ryan, real quick, rapid fire. Who do you got? MLB winning the World Series.
I have my Cleveland Guardians getting to the championship. They're going to defeat the Yankees, get to the championship out of the American League, and they are going to play the Atlanta Braves. Actually, you know what? No. In true fashion, we are going to take down the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And
They're called the Cleveland Guardian,
and you're sticking to it. This is like a serious take, and you're sticking to it.
We have a good team. You guys, I mean, I think we're 4-1 to start. We have a lot of good young talent. Our owner is pretty cheap, so we just have a really good farm system, develop a lot of talent. But yeah, we have great pitching. If you have pitching, you can go far. We have timely hitting. Francona's our manager. So I think with the Guardians, and you're going to hear me screw up and say Indians throughout this year, so I'm going to get that out of the way right now. But yes, the Guardians are for real. Their name, get used to it. That's what I have to say.
All right, well, there you have it. Heard it here first. Khalil, I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but if you know sports, you're an athlete. Who do you have winning the World Series if you had to go to Vegas and put everything on this team tonight, right now?
I'm not really tuned into the MLB as of like right now. Why not Toronto?
Hey, Blue Jays. There we go. Nobody's gonna. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. There you go. All right. So
I picked the Montreal Expos. No.
Mike, who do you got? Real quick.
Toronto over San Diego.
San Diego Padres. Hey, Padres. Yo, we lived right down the street from the Padres, the Petco Stadium back in the day. All right, Avery, who do you got? Real quick. MLB World Series championship.
Who do I have?
Come on, man. Here we go.
Who do I have? Okay, I'll just go with the hometown Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto. Okay, there we go.
They're winning it.
All right,
that's
so
based on no information at all, just they're gonna win it.
It's a sports podcast, Below the Rim podcast. We're gonna take a quick commercial break because I just want to hear the music. The MMA merger, UFC, WWE. Jamal, I'll start with you because you're the MMA guy, and then Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts because you were, I know you be betting, so you know that world very well. All right, so what are your thoughts?
When I woke up to this news, I was just like, okay, there's another powerhouse corporation out there that could stand up to like Amazon and Tesla and Microsoft and all that stuff. But where is this potentially going to go? The slap box bullshit compilation that Dana White created was horrible, but he's gonna keep it going because the bars like it. Now the whole Conor McGregor going over to boxing, and then like we got Paul Logan going over to WWE. That's what the fans want to see. So what's gonna happen? Imagine Nate Diaz fighting in wrestling, fake wrestling, but then you got someone like Brock Lesnar going from wrestling to real UFC fighting. So it's going to be a mixture of real fighters doing fake fighting and fake fighters doing real fighting. It's going to be a new market.
Ryan, what do you think, man? This is America. Go home, go big, go home. What do you think?
They are now an entertainment giant. I mean, they were a player before. Ari Gold. An Entourage is Ari Emanuel in real life, for those that didn't know.
WME.
He's the head of WME. I was working for IMG right out of college, so I got to see behind the books on some of the stuff that they spend their money on. And
wow.
Man, it's a pretty. I'm not gonna, just for my own sake, I don't know if I'm allowed to expose that information or not, but they spend some money on protecting their models and all this stuff and decorating their offices, and there's so much that goes on behind it. And that was just IMG. So when they merged with WME and became Endeavor, I knew that they were going to be a global player for the years to come. They bought the UFC. Wow. Their merger with WWE just goes to show that they are getting into that true entertainment business, as Jamal was saying, where you're going to have pros fighting non-pros to get good views and make some money. So I think it's good. It's entertainment in the grand scheme of things, and I'm all for it.
Khalil, you're a professional player. You signed in Nova Scotia. Caitlin Clark was talking about legacy and leaving that legacy and just going for the dream. What was that like for you? And do you have plans to use your name, image, and likeness to further your business ventures?
Basically, what he was asking is, what signing a contract mean to you?
Personally, it means everything. Like, since I was a kid, or it probably has nothing to do with the story, but grade one day, I went outside for recess and I seen this grade 8. He was just shooting the ball. He was dunking the ball. He was doing all the acrobatic stuff that I've never seen before. I wanted to be like him when I grew up. So I went up to him, tugged on his leg, asked him to shoot the ball. And he pretty much just said, "Beat it, kid. Like, move, go play with your friends." And that guy ended up to be Jordan himself. And that was.
I can't say it anymore though. He will dunk on me in 2 seconds, and he lets me know every time he sees me. So there, I said it publicly.
Hey.
There we go.
I was always nice to Khalil.
No, he always reminds me of that story, but he's such a motivating person, as each and every one of us here are, man. So the former Cardinals vice president, Terry Dono, accuses owner Mike Bidwill of cheating and discrimination. And it just kind of, this article for the CBS NFL, it just kind of goes into like how they cheated and they caused, different minority workers to like feel like, uncomfortable at work and stuff like that. We, with this pod, we don't try to get too, controversial or anything like that, but why do you think that this stuff is coming out more and more, like, the racial stuff and we're black, we're white. Do you think this is good that this is coming to the forefront now and we're kind of ridding owners or calling people out for these things?
Like, if you think back to 2000 or 1999, there wasn't a lot of internet. People can do this, people can do that. Nothing got exposed. Now that the internet's around, it's not to say that the world's changing. It's always been like this. It's just now we're seeing the actual cracks and crevices of what's going on. So, like, do you still like these players after we know who they really are? That's like a question you got to ask yourself.
Do you
Ryan?
believe all the stories that come out, though? Sorry.
No, I always, what do they say? Daddy taught me, listen to half of what you see and nothing to what you hear. Like, listen to nothing what you hear and half of what you see. Like, you always got to cross-reference, because at the end of the day, if I read something about any of you on the podcast right now, for me to believe that just from reading it, I think that's dumb on my part.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So, like, I need to, like, meet the person or at least have a lot of cross-references to see if that's, like, a legitimate fact.
Do your own research.
I think a lot of people today are really quick to just read the headline even, and like don't even read the fucking article.
Exactly.
Like, don't know what the actual story is about. And even when you do read the article, you're only reading one side of a story usually.
It goes back to statistics versus the actual truth.
Yeah,
so
no,
like
100%.
people are so reliant on the headlines. They read it without reading the body, and it's just like, oh yeah, I know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, no,
right.
I agree.
If you can hear me now, I'm not sure.
You're back.
We could hear him.
All right, so yeah, you got to catch up.
It makes me think of what's going on now with Andrew Wiggins, right? Because to me, it's whatever story is more interesting. That's what people are going to go with. And at first we heard that, his best friend is sleeping with the wife and the one child might not be his, but a few hours later, it would be more exciting if both kids weren't his, wouldn't it? And that's what the story turned into. And it quickly turned into now him taking another month off. And now I'm hearing about his dad being sick. He took time off, which isn't exciting at all.
I was watching this interview with PBD, and he's like a motivational speaker, but he was interviewing Antonio Brown about the CTE and the Vontaze Burfict hit, and it got heated, man. But Mike, in the meantime, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think people are, just like how Instagram or social media, we get addicted to it or stuff like that? Do you think it's do you see that? Like, are you, as much as you love sports, do you see that it can get a little?
I think people these days just, again, like to read the headlines. Like, no one in sports, I feel like people don't, and part of it's time and part of it's culture. I think small snippets and short bits is what people want to see. People want to see highlights. People want to read headlines. They don't want to actually read the whole thing. They don't want to read 4 pages of a story. They just want to see so-and-so, Dana White slapped his wife at the club. And they're like, that's cool. We're done. Moving on to the next story. It's part of the reason why basketball got big on TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that. It's those short clips of dunks. It kind of exploded into social media and helped basketball get to like huge new numbers.
Right.
But I mean, if we're going back to the NFL part, yeah, I think there's been racism in football and probably all sports forever. And I think people are getting more comfortable just kind of pointing out that these things are ridiculous and it's time for a bit of a change. So I think it's good. And I think there'll be more of it to come. I won't be shocked if all 30 white owners are racist.
Wow. There you have it. And the podcast was the Patrick Bet David podcast.
That's what I said. No,
all right. So Drew and Ryan, I want to, between the two of you, I'd like to have a banter. This is a new game that I'm working on. This is a game where, you ready? Y'all ready for this?
I think.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. So this is the impersonation game, but it's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and this is the game or the practice before they did the football inflation. Okay, so I want to see how that scene would have been. Ryan, you're Belichick. Drew, you're Brady. The stage is yours.
You mean awfully cold game out there, Tom. How you feeling today?
Billy, I feel great like I do every year. Billy, I feel great. Look at me. I look great. I'm throwing the ball great. There's only one thing I could use.
It's Mr. Billy to you. Let's not get that confused, son. Now, here is a ball boy that I'd like to introduce you to. He'll be traveling with us just for this week. All right. Here, son, you meet Mr. Tom Brady. Here he is. Tom, take good care of him. Show him the ropes, and I'm just gonna go get ready for the game.
It looks to me like you're already ready for the game. You got your little zip-up sweater there. You got your baseball cap. To me, you're almost overdressed for this game, Mr. Belichick. I will let this kid follow me around as long as he doesn't get in my way and get in the way of the cameras and the mirrors. Should be all good. Yeah,
I'm usually used to wearing the Patriot rags, but I decided to class it up a little bit. I hope you'll do the same today, Tom. Integrity, right?
That is right. So these balls here that I'm using here, Mr. Belichick, they feel a little bit hard. I kind of like my balls a little bit softer, if you know what I mean.
Well, you have told me that numerous times before. I know Robert Kraft feels the same way about his balls. But focusing on you here, we have this ball boy. He can take care of whatever you need PSI wise. Why don't you say some words to him?
Son, nice to meet you. As Mr. Belichick told you, I am the GOAT. I am pretty much near perfect, if not perfect, as you can see, top to bottom. Don't worry about my combine picture. That was just smoke and mirrors. So if you just take a little bit off the top on a couple of these balls here, I think we'll be all good, son.
Below the Rim podcast. There you go. I like it. We're gonna see if we can get an Emmy for that. Khalil smiled. This dude never smiles. Yeah. So you guys did a really good job. I just want to ask you real quick, Avery. If you had to pick a coach, what style coach would you pick? Do you want the Greg Popovich coach? Do you want the Bill Belichick coach? Like, do you want the coach that would go and tell the player, go in there and, give him a little elbow, or do you want the analytics, Steve Kerr?
I don't know. From the stories you hear about Pop, I don't want anybody giving me fucking I'm not allowed to go out specific times. I'm not allowed to do specific things. Pop seems like there's way too much rules for me to be a part of that foundation. I think somebody like I don't know, everyone has good things to say about Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr is a good coach. He's been nothing but good since he's been in Golden State. I think he's been blessed with talent. That's I think that's every coach, though, also. I think if you gave Jeff Van Gundy the 96 Bulls and the 90s Bulls, that he probably would have brought them to the championship. Does that make Phil Jackson the best coach of all time just because he happened to be coaching one of the greatest teams of all time. Like, I'm not saying that the coaches don't change the culture. I just think that sometimes the coaches get maybe too much credit. And if you actually listen to Pop when he does interviews, he usually will always say that shit, that he's like, I coached Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and David Robinson. Like, it was pretty easy for me to win championships. He's pretty modest about that shit. I feel like there's other coaches that maybe don't feel the same way and are kind of feel like they should have been the star. Like, why is Coach K the most known coach of all time? I don't know.
Or even like George Karl got into it with your boy DeMar Cousins too, right? Like,
George
he
Karl
got into it with other players.
everybody.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So
Like,
he's more of an egotistical, just more so from those reports. But Khalil, you play with coaches. You're doing that now. You're an active player. What kind of coach do you like or respond best to?
For me, I would say like the more disciplined coach. So I would go for a Pop, because I've had coaches that were like disciplined. Like, I remember we literally won nationals, like the national championship when I was at Seneca College, 26-0 that year, and we wanted to go out and celebrate. We were in Montreal, Laval. Our coaches were literally just sitting in the lobby of our floor, like they were just sitting there and we couldn't do nothing.
Wow.
I'm sure they know about the strip club district down there. Probably worried that you'd make a trip down to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Toronto
district
players that lost their scholarship.
Yeah, I was watching this interview with Kobe, and he was saying, like, when he was playing, he would go out with the players, but he would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, knock on their door, and say, "I did what you want. Now you do, what I want by working your ass off in the gym." I want to get quickly into this is a great episode, by the way. I want to get quickly into the NHL update and as well as the golf update. I want to get into golf. I know Ryan, you play, but if we can kind of get into NHL and keep it pushing.
As far as the NHL goes this week, Jordan, we finally have what's known as the, I guess, crunch times down near the end. There's about 4 to 5 games left for most of the teams. The seasons are the same with the NHL and the NBA. We got an 82-game schedule. And right now, the Boston Bruins have wrapped up the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference is still up for grabs between the Vegas Golden Knights, Dallas Stars are involved, and I guess the LA Kings are finding their way up to the top of that conference. So we're just getting down to the playoff seedings now. Who's going to play who in round number 1? It's been officially set that Toronto Maple Leafs are going to face Tampa Bay Lightning for the second year in a row. If you remember last year, that series went 7 games, and Tampa won it in Toronto in Game 7, and then went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They are the 2-time defending champions going into last year, and then they lost in the final last year. So 3 years in a row into the final, kind of like the Golden State Warriors of the NHL. So if the Leafs are going to get to the second round for the first time in 20 years, that's what we're going to have to knock off, man. It's not going to be easy, but I do like the odds. We are actually favored. We're 4 points up on them right now, and whoever finishes the season ahead obviously gets home ice advantage. So we're just trying to hold on for that, and hopefully we're going to run around this year, man.
Mike?
I kind of agree with everything you said. I think Toronto's going to be in tough against Lightning. Last week of the season will kind of shake everything else out. In the West, I like Dallas a lot. I saw them play a couple times. I saw them play once already in Toronto this year. They're a good, solid team. I like them coming out of the West over Edmonton.
I don't know how you guys watch the hockey games with winter outside. That part was hard for me. I'm just like, the game is fun, but I'm just it's cold and it's cold, But circling back to NBA real quick.
Hey Jordan, how about that 65 game requirement that just came into play from the new CBA agreement?
What was that? Say that
Thank
again.
God.
So now NBA players are required to play 65 of the 82 games to win a major award, such as Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, MVP.
I did not know that.
Yeah, this just came about
They
this
heard our
week.
podcast.
So.
What? Hey,
Yeah, I'll wait. Breaking news. Yeah.
You have to
Wow.
play a certain amount of games.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Which is something we've been saying on this podcast for a while.
Exactly.
Sucks Drew's cut out right now, and Drew and Avery both, because we've been saying this since day
For a
one.
minute.
So.
Exactly.
And
Right.
there's now a play-in. There's a mid-season tournament with the NBA too.
What is that? Can you explain that? So it's not that's not the play-in. There's a mid-season tournament.
Yeah.
What?
So from my understanding with the mid-season tournament is that they're going to play normal games, and come a certain point in the season, like they're going to play the normal schedule, and then come a certain point, such as November, the top 8 teams will then go to Vegas and they'll play a tournament such as I think it's going to be a single elimination tournament. So essentially, the teams that get to the championship will only play 1 or 2 more games, and they're guaranteed $500,000 incentive if you win it all. Every player is.
It's not bad.
So
it's not bad at all.
Something that I think I don't know if that's perfect just yet, such as like the playing game. I don't know if that's perfect, but I like the step that the direction of the NBA is taking with trying to get the drag of the NBA season, trying to spice it up a little bit. So I'm all for it.
Khalil, what are your thoughts, man? What is your playoff picture looking like? Who do you have winning everything? And you think Dallas is going to pull it back together?
Yeah, let's get that professional opinion.
Okay, so when it comes to all these new rules that they're implementing into the league, I think it's just dumb. Like, just stick to the original draft that they had from the beginning, where you play the 82, playoffs come, and all of that. Like, the play-in, they literally added that 2 years ago, I'd say.
COVID.
They added the play-in, last year, or to COVID? Yeah, just stick to the regular, because, like, all these players that want to sit out, and now they're implementing, you got to play 65 games in order to get more money or get the Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and all of that. So, I don't know. To me, it's just weird. But my team that I have a winning on all is the Bucks. Those are my guys right there. Milwaukee.
There you have
Stop that freak, man.
There you have it.
Stop that freak.
Mm-hmm.
There you have it.
I just want to say welcome back to the baseball season. You know, it's bringing back some great memories of mine when I used to work down at the Sky Dome. And, you know, spring is in the air when baseball has started. So it also lets you know that playoff season is around the corner for hockey and NBA. So it's a great time of the year.
Do we want to touch on golf real quick?
We want to get into golf real quick. Mike, thank you for reminding me, sir. And Ryan, I'll give the stage to you as well. Mike, what are your thoughts? Give us an introduction to golf, because we do want to keep that update, man. You're like the guy, you know, the guy, the stats guy.
Big week in golf. Masters tournament is starting. So kind of one of those events that kind of kicks off the summer, kind of kicks off the spring as well. Big tournament. Everyone will be watching. First tournament with PGA and Live players. So all golf people are interested to see how that gets on. Things start on Wednesday, or tomorrow, I guess it is now. The tournament, they have a par 3 tournament, and then the playing starts Thursday morning and goes till Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. It's always a great time of the year for the Masters, right after the chaos of March Madness and all the hectic of college basketball. It's nice to settle in to some golf, some beautiful scenery down there at Augusta National. I'm excited, like, as I think you touched on it, every golf fan is, to see those Live golfers play against the PGA guys. And I think up at the front, you know, the odds-on favorite is Scottie Scheffler to repeat. Rory McIlroy is right there as well. So they're pretty high on the PGA Tour guys. I think these Live guys are getting a little bit disrespected.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, the way you just described, you know, just to kind of, after college basketball, you want to settle in for golf. I was there with you, Ryan. So, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you what.
Perfect.
Yeah, Jamal, you got to put it, you know. Hey, Drew, real quick, because you are a health guy. You go to the gym regularly, because we want to not only inform people on different sports on this podcast. We want to learn, we want to stay informed and just entertain, but also learn and be inspired. How do you stay motivated going to the gym all the time, regularly? What's your secret?
My secret is just the knowledge, Jordan, that consistency is key when it comes to working out, man. There really is no secret to that. Anything that you put the work into, you tend to see results, kind of like our acting careers. We know that if we go to one audition, we can't expect to book every audition we go. You kind of just keep having to hit that tree in the same spot over and over again in order to knock it down. So over the years, I've kind of learned what works best for me as far as a regiment and how many days a week I need to go in order to get the best results. And I think anyone, as far as the consistency factor, kind of works the same way. You might start out thinking that 3 days is enough for you. And also the key would be to not overdo it so that you're not too sore to go back the next day, right? You can't make up for missing a day by going twice as hard the following day. It's best to just kind of fall into a mode of staying in that consistent range and knowing what your limits are and doing a consistent maybe 45-minute to 1 hour workout 3, 4, 5 days a week. Eventually it just becomes a routine and you start to crave it as much as you would sitting in front of the couch. Eventually it just becomes a part of your lifestyle. So I would advise everyone maybe just kind of start slow. If you want to incorporate exercise into your life as well as diet, maybe start with 3 days and don't overdo it so that you give yourself time to recover and go back the next day.
Wonderful. Khalil, I wanted to ask you, what is your secret? What keeps you motivated? We've worked out many times, and what's your secrets?
What keeps me motivated?
Yeah, and just going to the gym, working out. Like, wow, the support team. Wow,
Like,
me too. Amen to that. Me too.
The support team, pretty much. Yeah, like my sisters, especially Nevaeh, Kaya. Nevaeh, like she's been in and out of the hospital from when she was born. She's had she was born with an enlarged heart, and she had her open heart surgery when she was like a year old, not even. And from then till now, like she literally just came out of the hospital yesterday.
Oh my God.
Because like she keeps losing weight, putting it on, losing it. But I feel like it's just,
I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
it's just an ongoing thing with her. But like she will get better day after day, even though she still has to do her hospital visits because she's a sick kid's patient and like a heart transplant patient. So, my sisters are what keeps me going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. I don't know. Anyone want to add anything?
Prayers up, man.
Shout out to family, man. Like, yeah, I agree with that. We all need some strong people in our corner. You know, man is an island. Mother always says that to me. We might think that we can get out there and do things on our own, but we always hear these stories of athletes that started out from childhood and just had that support, whether it's a mother and father or an aunt or an uncle that was in the same kind of sport that you pursue. It's hard to do anything alone, man. We hear about how much it costs to play hockey. Like, how can anyone expect a child to pursue a goal in hockey unless they have their parents or someone backing them financially? So it's something to keep in mind, man. If you know a child that's out there that might need a little bit of push or just some inspiration, don't take it for granted how much a nice word or a little pushing back might do for someone, man. Don't take that for granted.
Right. Amen to that. Let's get into our final thoughts, man. I'll start right now. Here's my 60 seconds. I just want to say thank you again to everyone that came on the pod. Avery's not here, so respectfully, Avery, when you're watching this, man, next time on Dragon Ball Z. But I don't know. I'm really glad that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, like, I don't know. I know everyone saw it too, man. Like the shift and they're going to make WNBA this crazy, like big business league, and I'm excited for it. And shout outs to the NBA and what they're doing. It's incredible, and the Live Golf League and everything. I'm learning, and I'm a fan of the pod and fan of everyone here. And all right, I'm out. All right, cool. That's it.
All right. So my final thoughts today are around that 65 game implementation and how my boy LeBron would not have won an MVP award. I'm a little hurt by this, usually because the NBA does things to help LeBron, and rightfully so. He has done a lot for the sport, but it is a little surprising. I think it's Kawhi Leonard would have been one affected by this, was his defensive player of the year. Karl Malone won an MVP, and I don't even think he played 50 games one season. So it's definitely going to change. It's going to have an impact moving forward, and I like it. I think the MVP, to even be considered, should be playing the majority of the game. So, like the 65 implementation rule, playing the end of the midseason tournament, I'm here for it. Not for now, but I will switch quick. You might see my fanhood come out of me if that tournament turns out to be a bust.
Drew, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts this week, I think, are just going to revolve around competitiveness. You know what I mean? Because 2 weeks ago, or just a little over a week ago, I was excited when I look ahead to the games and I saw that Denver was playing Philadelphia, the Sixers there. And I was looking forward to what I thought was going to be an MVP battle between Jokic and Embiid. And then I heard Embiid was sitting out of the game. And maybe about a week or so after that, I believe that the Sixers played Milwaukee, and Embiid got outplayed head-to-head by Giannis. And I just think back to when I kind of came up watching the game. I'm used to guys playing a full 82 and kind of leaving it all out there, playing through injuries. I'll bring up an example. Earlier this week, I heard in order for Kawhi Leonard to play in a back-to-back situation, he actually sat out the second half of the first game in the back-to-back. So that kind of
Time's up.
Final thoughts are the NBA world is fucking heating up. Like, I don't know, what do we got? Like 3 games left now that LA I'm struggling to who they just played, but I know they won tonight. Boston lost to Philly tonight, which was a big loss.
Utah Jazz.
Yeah. Okay. So they got Utah, then they play LAC tomorrow, then they play Phoenix the next day, then they play Utah in another 2 days after that. So I think they could actually go 4-0 in this and make a good push for the 6th spot, which will probably get them Sacramento in the first round. And I think they could take Sacramento. I don't think Sacramento is a team that people are like scared.
Final thoughts extended. Go ahead. Keep going, man.
Yeah, I don't think Sacramento's like a team that people are really scared to play right now with like they kind of just run people off the floor. But I think if they're not hitting their threes and their defense isn't the greatest, like, I think.
Khalil, final thought.
Honestly, I have no thought, but I just want to say I'm thankful for being invited to this podcast.
Thanks for coming.
I've known you, Jamal, and you, Jordan, for years, since I was I don't know, grade 1. Yeah,
5.
pretty much grade 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm just thankful for you guys, and I appreciate you guys.
Ditto, man. Wow. Mike, final thoughts, man. Ditto, man.
Cool.
I know, right?
My mind's all over the place. Final thoughts. Women's basketball was awesome. I don't think there's any there's no reason we should be talking about races and disrespectfulness. It's just athletes playing, and the more we have that, the more people are entertained, the better it is. Moving on to this weekend, big golf weekend. Look forward to see Tiger Woods play. I didn't mention this in the golf update, but he did mention he's not sure how many more Masters he has left. Getting older and with the leg injury, just getting to see him out there will be fun. So that's another thing I'm looking forward to. And then I'm actually golfing on Monday, so I'm looking forward to getting out.
Enjoy it.
Nice. First round of the year.
Yeah. A couple courses are starting to open up now in Toronto, so get out.
Ryan, we gotta go. We gotta do some golfing out here, man. I know we said that. Yeah, no, I gotta. I was in LA when we were in LA. I saw a bag on the side of the road, and I was like, I could, they were throwing it up, they were throwing it out, and I was like, man, I could grab them right now, but I was like, no. But thank you all again for coming. I don't know, Jamal, if you got something, you got final thoughts, something?
My final thought: where is sports heading? It's heading to a circuit. I think we're there. It's we all have tickets. I'm sitting front row. I think it's a huge circus. It's not sports anymore. Before it used to sell sports and motivation and dreams and hopes. Now it just sells Nike shirts and a T-shirt that says the player's name. The sport itself, like you said, like Karl Malone played a certain amount of games, he got this, and now it's like you got to play. So it's like, why do they have to tell the players to actually play the game when that's what they were assigned to play? So I think it's not a sport anymore. It's more of a show, and it's a damn good show, though.
All right. Well, that's been Below the Rim podcast. We didn't get to flush it at all today because we've had,
Wait, can we flush all the bad reception and all like the
I was gonna.
You were saying, Mike?
We can just flush the Dallas Mavericks.
There you go.
We can also flush Avery getting off the pod.
And let's flush inflation.
All right, yo. Well, we gotta get the heck out of here. In the meantime, between time, if you don't agree with it, we go and flush it. I'm Jordan.
I'm Jamal.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Mike.
I'm Khalil.
And Andrew Hinkson.
And what we gonna do, fellas? We gonna flush that shit.